Well, if Katie's feeling strong, we ought to make Kansas City by tomorrow morning.
Be careful, kid. That's Missouri.
I will. Say hello to Slender for me. Try and stop by on my way back.
All right, good. Thanks for the ride, kid.
You too. Jimmy, even if things do get worse, we'll always be friends.
Jimmy!
Surprise!
Oh, look at you.
Me? Look at you.
Come here.
So, how's life with the Pony Express?
That's all right, I guess. You know, I just can't get over seeing you like that.
Having this baby's gonna be the best thing that ever happened to us. You'll see. At first, Nathan was a little worried because these are such dark times.
Any sign of the coming trouble up your way, Jimmy?
Yeah, it's like a disease. Past couple of months, I ain't hardly been to any place that there ain't some sign of it. So I guess you're still working with the Vigilance Committee, huh?
More than ever. It's getting to the point where I hardly ever see him anymore.
We're doing some real important work. Ever since Mr. Burke got here.
Isaiah Burke?
You know him?
No, I've heard of him, though. They say he's another John Brown.
He's a great man, Jimmy. For the last month alone, we've rescued over 100 slaves. Only lost 2 men.
Sorry I'm late. Little Lucinda was breaking a fever. It took some doing, but I think I persuaded the driver to take her along. Excuse me, I didn't know you were expecting company.
No, I ain't exactly company, just uncle to be.
Rosemary Burke, this is my brother, Jimmy Hickok.
Pleased to meet you.
The pleasure's mine, Mr. Hickok. Celinda's told me all about you.
Uh-oh.
She also told me not to believe everything I hear.
Well, good. So, you ain't any relation to Isaiah Burke, are you?
He's my husband.
Oh.
I'm happy to inform you that the people we freed today are already heading north. On their way to new lives.
Is that him?
I am equally pleased to announce that our next target will be the slave compound at Crown Point, Missouri.
Excuse me, Mr. Burke. I know that place, and it's heavily guarded.
I'm aware of that.
Well, we're liable to suffer heavy losses.
I refer you to Hebrews 9:22. Without shedding of blood, there is no remission of sin.
And without the shedding of blood, there can be no end to slavery.
I'm afraid Nathan is right, gentlemen. Now, those of you who will be riding with us on Crown Point, please stay. The rest of you may go. Good. I believe that covers everything. It's late. Go home to your wives and families. If they ask you where you've been this evening or where you're going, tell them that your children's children will sleep better for what we planned here tonight.
Isaiah Burke, I'd like you to meet my brother-in-law, James Butler Hickok.
It's an honor, Mr. Hickok. Although I did not know him well, I admired your late father very much.
Thank you. He's a good man.
He died for the noblest cause of all, the brotherhood and dignity of all men.
The way I remember it, he was stabbed by a drunken slaver. You know, he died in my arms.
Yes. You also have something of a reputation, Mr. Hickok, whether rightly earned or not. Regardless, we could use your help.
I don't think so.
Think about it. This is a rare opportunity to be part of a greater good.
Yeah? And in a couple of days, how many of these men's wives are going to be widows?
Too many, unfortunately. Just give it some thought. In the meantime, perhaps you could lend us some benign assistance. We'll be needing medical supplies. And since many of our members are already living under a veil of suspicion, I would be greatly indebted if you would accompany my wife to the apothecary.
I guess I can do that.
Thank you.
You really think that fellow in there believed these were for an orphanage?
Probably not. But I'm sure Isaiah will have his people check him out.
What do you mean, like, which side he's on?
People's lives are at stake here, James. You can't be too careful.
So I gather.
Sorry. Can you have the ball back?
Go ahead. Like kids, don't you?
Very much.
Rosemary, I know I don't hardly know you at all, but it sure looks like, I don't know, you and your husband sure seem different, I guess.
Do we? We weren't always. When I met him, he was so heroic. Back then, we believed that if people were only educated, they would recognize the evils of slavery, and change would come peacefully. Hasn't quite worked out that way.
It usually doesn't when you're telling folks they're wrong. So is that why you married him? Because he was a hero?
I fell in love. I'd never met a man like Isaiah before. He was so gentle and kind, thoughtful. We were part of a great and noble cause.
Look, when I was growing up, the cause was all I ever heard about. And, of course, the other side had their cause, too. So I've seen some pretty strange things from both sides. Lately, I can't help wondering how much any cause is worth.
As opposed to what?
Family, living next to your neighbor in peace, things like that.
That'll come someday.
But for someone else, right? Not you.
No, not me. Not you either, if I'm any judge.
Given the heavy traffic of slaves through this compound, it's very well defended. Warren, when I fire a shot, your men will ride in from behind these trees. Rosemary, on my signal, you'll approach the south gate.
Excuse me, Isaiah. Ain't there some other way of doing this without using your wife?
Mr. Hickok, Rosemary has assisted us twice before. Quite successfully, I might add. Again, I must stress that speed is essential. It's up to you, gentlemen. Any questions?
No, sir.
Good. Let's get started.
Can't you talk him out of this?
Even if I wanted to, I doubt it would be possible.